You'll see the articles that were stolen from Africa when they devastated the villages, the townships, the kingdoms. You'll see crowns.
Black power, black is beauty, only one Africa.
You'll see necklaces, you'll see garments, you'll see rings, you'll see bracelets. These are the things that were stolen when they came in and plundered the indigenous areas here, the kingdoms here, the villages here, the towns here. They took them back and they locked them up in museums. Why don't they show you with that on? Because they showed you with that on, you can identify that these people are somebody. Look at that jewelry. Look at that crown. Look at those clothes. Look at the kind of sandals they got on. You'll be able to say that these are our people. So if they strip you down naked, then you can identify there are people. These are like jungle monkeys. These are jungle bunnies. And they are people with no culture. And people begin to sell that as the image of Africans. So when you came down here, they stripped you down naked, only to have a loincloth on. But that was also psychological, because what we forget is that not one single African American was captured here. Not one single Jamaican was captured here. Not one single Trinidadian was captured here. Brazilian, Colombian were captured here. Everybody who was captured here was captured in your original identity of who it is that you were. And this is where they remade you into new people. This is where the Negro was manufactured. There's no such thing as a Negro. You had a language, you had a land, you had a people, you have regalia, you have culture, you have history, and all that was stripped down from you. Not just the clothes, but you weren't allowed to speak your language, you weren't allowed to name your children after their original names, you weren't allowed to make no reference to your villages. So this is the beginning of the manufacture of the Negro. And then after they manufactured the Negro, then they changed you into an African American. From African, you landed in America. That's why you have the African Methodist Episcopal Church. That's why you had the African Free Society. That's why you had named the African Free Lodge. They changed from the African to the Negro, then to colored, then to black, then back to African American again, all because they stripped who you were starting in these places. You go to Jamaica, you say, I'm Jamaican. Because Columbus named the whole Americas India, you say you're West Indian. You go to Brazil, they name it Brazil and Brazil. You go to Colombia, because they said Columbus, we're not going to name the Americas after you. We'll name that as another Spanish explorer. But we will name Colombia after you. But who were the people who was in Colombia before they named them after Columbus? Who were the people that Columbus found there before they named them after Columbus? All those things have erased, made a new history, new people, new geographical locations all together. So New York used to be New Amsterdam because the Dutch ruled New York before the English ruled it. So they wanted to make a Europe all over again because they messed up Europe. Europe was full of despotic kings. If you read the Declaration of Independence, what does Thomas Jefferson call the King of England? A despot, a tyrant. And it's for that reason that we choose to separate ourselves from the United Kingdom, from England, to make up our own United States of America because they got wicked rulership in England. That's what the white American founding fathers called England. And England was full of despotic rulers. And with all the wealth that they had stolen, they still could not rule civically. And that's why you have people flooding out of Europe into New America. So they call what we know today New York, New Amsterdam. When the Dutch sold it to the English, they call it New York. They created a new Georgia. They created a New Orleans. Orleans is in France. They wanted a New Orleans. Georgia's in Europe. They wanted another Georgia. So all it was to try to replicate, and they changed our whole identity around. But I say again, when we're going down here in the darkness, it was a darkness that many of us have not come out of yet. After 500 years, we still haven't found out who we are. We change our names every 10 years. Now some people want to be black. Don't call me black. I'm not no African. I don't know what African is. I ain't never seen no African. Don't call me African. Still a confused people. Because even though slavery is supposed to end 160, 70 years ago with the Emancipation Proclamation, there was never any attempt to recover what was taken from us. To have it restored to you. Who am I? They still say a nigga. No matter what your wealth is, no matter how many zeros you got in your bank account, no matter how much of the alphabet you have behind your name, PhD, DD, ED, whatever it is, you're still a nigga. Because the most low life person of any other nationality can look at you with all your diamonds on, with all your gold on, with all your bank account, and the poorest European can say you a nigger and think they're better than you because of what was started down here and what was started with this trade. So we're going to go down here, we're going to go through the narrative of what it represents symbolically, what it represents in reality, and piss, shit, vomit, everything. And that's what you're walking on.